Hi everyone, this is Wendy Davis and this is my first assignment for Law Librarianship, which is the evaluation of a hard copy resource, and the resource that I have chosen is the Australian Encyclopedia of Forms and Precedents. So in this presentation I will provide a critical evaluation of this encyclopedia. I've used Katz's evaluation guidelines as they seem the most appropriate to this kind of reference material. There are 5 key criterion that I'll be focusing on. Those are the authority, the audience, the purpose, the content and the format of the encyclopedia. And finally I'll draw some short conclusions about the overall evaluation and the encyclopedia. In terms of the authority of this work, there's a large editorial team that was involved in its production. Those editors were all high-level legal practitioners within the Australian context, and they represented both Commonwealth and state jurisdictions, so it has quite a wide level of coverage. And the other aspect to consider was the publisher, which was Butterworths. Butterworths comes with a reputation of almost 2 centuries of legal publishing. This encyclopedia itself is now distributed by LexisNexis, both online and is still available in its print format. In the UK, Butterworths is now owned by Reed Elsevier, so we can see how the publishing of this work has moved with the times in terms of how we now access and distribute reference information, but it also brings with it the high level of authority of the name and reputation of Butterworths as a publisher. The audience for the encyclopedia, going on scanning through the document, it's written in very technical and discipline-specific language to do with legal issues, so that would mean that its audience is also specialised, perhaps in terms of legal practitioners, researchers and students who are either working in the Australian context or looking at how those issues are played out in the Australian jurisdiction, both at a Commonwealth and state level. The purpose and content of the encyclopedia is to provide current definitions and commentary on transactions and agreements in the law, and all the information and definitions comes from cases which are used as precedents to base the information on. So we can assume that it is objective and impartial because the content is based on precedent. It's not just opinion based. As I mentioned, the jurisdiction is Australia at both Commonwealth and state levels. It is written in the English language only in this hard copy form. The actual volume that I looked at would have been definitive at the time of its publication in 1957, so at that time its purpose would have been achieved. However, now it probably should be used fairly retrospectively, perhaps as historical work to consult, and I would imagine most researchers would defer to the online resource. The format of this encyclopedia, as with most encyclopedias, information is organised alphabetically. There is a table of contents, a table of abbreviations, of statutes and of cases at the start of the volume to help the user navigate their way through the work, and there is also subject indexing at the end of each volume also. But apart from that, there's no other instructions on how to use or search or engage with the resource. It's a quality resource in terms of its format, its binding, the quality of the paper, which also indicates a degree of authority. It's fairly costly today. The online version through LexisNexis costs £9,899, and it is still available in the print hard copy version also, which I found quite interesting as things change quickly. So if an institution was to acquire that print version, you would imagine that they would have to be updating their collection very regularly to stay up to date. So in conclusion, at the time of publication, of this resource, it would be a valuable and authoritative primary resource, but I think in consulting it in its hard copy, we would proceed with great caution because the law is constantly changing as new cases and precedents are set as a result of that, and perhaps the online version would be more flexible in terms of updating and more current.